My name is Katie Berman. I run Kataluna Horse Rescue. We're a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated towards saving slaughter-bound horses, and we're located in the beautiful city of Falls City, Washington. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit. It's strictly donation-based. Whatever we bring in is all fundraised, whether it's via social media, going out and campaigning, doing fundraisers on our farm, or out in the community. It's all donation. So whatever is contributed to our program goes directly back into helping each and every one of our horses on their recovery journey, whether it's vet bills, farrier care, hay, renting our facility that we're on currently. Every little bit adds up for sure. We travel to local auction yards and feedlots. Usually we try to stay in the Pacific Northwest when it comes to us actually traveling and going there firsthand. We've been to feedlots in Eastern Washington, Idaho, Oregon, all those areas. But we have had horses shipped to us. We work with a really awesome hauler who travels cross country. And we've had horses come in from as far as Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma. So they come from all over the place. And one of the biggest questions that I get asked is, how do we pick what horses come in here? Because we are a smaller farm, we're a smaller program, we're still kind of getting our name out there. We're only 4 years old, so it's still pretty new. But I've still yet to figure out the best way to answer that question. But I think usually the ones who seem to need it the most make it known, and they find their way to us. It's just kind of that feeling that, like, yeah, these guys are meant to be here. And as soon as they step off that trailer, I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's one of the most incredible things that I love about working with rescue horses, especially in the slaughter-bound setting. They're in this environment, they're thrown into this environment, which, whether it's an auction yard or a feedlot, horses are smart and they know where they're at. Whether it's the smell or they're feeding off the other horses, like, they know it's not a good place, and there's a lot of bad energy and bad intentions that are gonna kind of come if they end up staying wherever they're at in those situations. And so that trailer ride, that freedom ride, we call it, when they come to our farm, the second that they step off that trailer, I mean, almost every single horse here, it's kind of crazy, but it's really cool. As soon as they step off that trailer, I don't know if it's just the atmosphere of our other horses who have been through the same thing and they're trying to help, or the people. I mean, this farm itself has so much peace, and like it is a sanctuary here for a lot of horses. The second they step off that trailer, they stop and they look around and they take this big breath, and then they just relax. And it's like they know that they're home and they're safe now. I've grown up working with horses. It's something I've been passionate about since I was a kid. My family is super supportive in it. They're not necessarily horse people, but my mom was really good friends with this gal growing up who ran another rescue that, funny enough, was actually at the same farm that we're at today. So I actually grew up working here and volunteering at that rescue, working with rescue horses and kids with disabilities. And then kind of just decided, that's what I love, that's what I want to do. My parents always raised me to, follow my dreams, pursue my passions, and happiness is the most important thing. And so that's, I knew that I didn't want to sit at a desk job all day, 24/7, and I just decided to follow my dreams and do what I want to do. And I knew that working with rescue horses in particular was where I wanted to take that. So when I graduated high school, I moved out of state and did some horse training stuff out there, and then moved back here and started what is now Kataluna. At Kataluna, one of the things that I focus on when it comes to the rehabilitation process and the retraining process is liberty horsemanship. And it's a positive reinforcementship training, whether it's clicker training or food rewards, scratches, that kind of thing. We use liberty to work with our horses, which, for those who don't know, it's basically like it gives the horse a freedom of choice, whether they are ready to participate with us or not. We're not necessarily forcing them into moving forward with this process that they might not be ready for mentally. Obviously, rescue horses, whether no matter where they come from, they've usually always endured some kind of trauma, whether it be physical, mental, emotional. They're working through something, and a lot of them come in really shut down. So it takes a while for them to open up, and it might not be the most time efficient. And I know a lot of other rescues, they're going to do obviously what's best for the horse. And I feel like this method that we use is just a really good way to let them kind of have their own way of being ready to connect and ready to participate. I want my horses to be excited to come and work with me, excited to do whatever it is that we're going to do that day, whether it's training, riding, just going for a walk down the road, something like that. I don't want them to feel like they have to do that, something they have to do. And so I think it's really empowering to give, especially the rescue horse, I mean any horse in general, but especially rescues, that choice so that they don't have to feel like they're being bombarded into something that they're not ready for yet. My biggest thing, I put my horse's happiness first. Like, I think that's the most important thing. If my horses don't want to, go for a ride, or they don't want to hang out with me, they don't want to do whatever, they just want to be horses in the pasture, obviously we have to kind of work through some things here and there, but I want them to be excited to be with me. I want them to be happy to be with me. I want them to just be happy in general. Every horse that comes in has a different story. I mean, just like each and every one of us are different, and we have our own personalities, things we like, don't like, things that we've been through. The horses are the same way. So usually our rescues that come in, most of them, they've got some sort of trauma or neglect, whether it's a physical standpoint. The transformation pictures, those ones are always, more extreme when we post the really skinny ones and then their transformation. But I think we've had a pretty good 50-50 standpoint of horses that just kind of end up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe they don't have quite as many like physical issues going on, but they were tossed aside for whatever reason, just because maybe they were too young or too old, or their people couldn't afford to take care of them. They didn't want to do horses anymore. They didn't know how to rehome properly, just ending up, like I said, in the wrong place in the wrong time. But we do also have a lot of horses who come in that are skinnier, or they have joint issues, hoof issues, just something along those lines. So it kind of depends. Every horse is different for sure that comes in, but we treat them all the same. And the goal is to just, whether it's mental or physical, the goal is to get them comfortable and happy so that they're ready to move on to their next stage in their life, which is that rehoming process. I think with that one, the first thing that comes to my mind is building our reputation. There's definitely a lot of people out there who claim to rescue, and they ask for donations and they ask for your money to support this process of saving the horse's life, which in some way they could be doing, but I think in another way, there's a lot of people out there who are just in it for the money, which this is not something that you are in for the money. It's this is something that you put your heart and soul into. It's a lot of work with not a lot of return, except for the emotional side of it, where you see the process of these horses lives literally making a full 180, going from this near-death experience, and then all of a sudden they're running through the pasture and their mane's flying in the wind and they're just happy being with other animals. I think that's a big thing, is a lot of people will claim to be a rescue, and then when people who donate find out that money didn't actually go towards what they were thinking it was going to, they get upset. Well, obviously, I think that's completely reasonable, but then I think they kind of put that on other rescues, which is understandable, and it's unfortunate that happens in a way, because then the second that something seems a little off, even if it's not, it gets blown up really big. We unfortunately had a little bit of a social media thing where somebody had shared false information about us, and people were so quick to just jump the gun. But then as soon as that's why I try really hard to share everything that we do here and be really open and post it all on social media, like look at our bank statements, everything that you need to see. I want you to feel comfortable that you are confident that your money is going into exactly what is helping these horses to do. If you're interested in learning more about Kataluna and our program, what we do with our horses, the rescue, the rehab process, you want to see it firsthand, definitely feel free to check out any of our social media pages. Our website is katalunahorserescue.org, and all of our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. We have YouTube as well. It's all under Kataluna Horse Rescue. So feel free to check us out. If you were interested in donating, you can donate via our website. We have our PayPal linked there, and Venmo as well. Everything is under the name Kataluna Horse Rescue. So we really appreciate everything and everyone contributing and just being a part of it. We love being able to share it, and we love being able to let people see what they're a part of firsthand, even if you can't be here physically. The number one thing I'm going to say is love your horses. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but there's so many horses, they work so hard for their owners their whole life, and then when it comes to a point where it matters most and they, you know, their body maybe can't physically perform as much as they would hope so, you know, a lot of people just kind of dump them to move on to the next one. You know, the biggest thing is when you take on the responsibility of owning a horse, you know, it's a big responsibility, it's a big commitment, and obviously, you know, things come up and you might not be able to take care of them for their entire life, but taking the ownership of making sure that that horse is taken care of, whether they're with you or not, I think that's kind of the biggest thing to go from. Like I said, a lot of horses end up in bad places just for whatever reason. There's a million reasons they can end up like that, and a lot of times it's just because people don't take the responsibility that the horses need. Like they're big animals, they take on a lot. And I think the other one, you know, if people are looking to get into horses and get into horse ownership, and you know, they want to help rescues, you know, adopt a horse if that's something that you're able to do, or if you aren't able to adopt for whatever reason, you know, donate, whether it's old tack that you're not using anymore, you know, you can donate it to a rescue. Blankets are a huge thing, halters are a huge thing. Funding, hay is obviously really expensive, so you know, every penny counts, even if it's $5 once a year, you know, that's gonna go towards helping a horse. You know, it's $5 towards a farrier bill or $5 towards a bag of grain, something like that. I think that's those things are the biggest way that people can really help rescues in particular, and help rescue horses end up in better places.